Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we take a look at movies under 50% and kind of tell you what we think of them. Today, we are looking at Teen Wolf starring Michael J. Fox, which has a 42% score on Rotten Tomatoes, so it came out in 1985. Soto,
Yeah.
this is one we've been talking about here and there doing for a while. And then finally, you're like,
hmm
fuck it, we got to do this. Why? Why did you feel we needed to touch Teen Wolf?
well, I remember being, I at least remember being entertained by this movie when I was younger. Which, after doing this whole series, I got to really go back and look at myself in the mirror and be like, did I even know what good movies were back then? Um, because this continues to be a trend where it's like, I really liked this movie when I was 8. And now that I'm in my 40s, this movie sucks. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it out loud. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, but yeah, this is gonna be another one where it was like, yeah, this is awesome, and now it's terrible.
This is the summer of Fox. So think about this. July
Oh shit.
1985, he had
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Oh,
1 month
awesome.
later, he had Teen Wolf. So and Teen Wolf opened at number 2 behind Back to the Future. So Michael J. Fox was a huge.
Are
This
you
was
kidding me?
obviously peak from. No, I'm not. I looked into it. I was like, wait, a month apart. I'm like, Back to the Future. People still ought to be watching this. But rewatching this,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know we'll get into it. I didn't realize, or I forgot how much sex or sexual innuendo was in this movie. Maybe
Oh
as a
yeah.
kid, it went over my head. I also like to call this the sweaty Michael J. Fox movie because anytime he's fucking playing basketball, he's drenched, like everything is dripping. They're losing like
Yeah.
75-11, but he's like, oh my god, he's just like, I'm looking
75
like,
to 11.
like he's the star of like the worst fucking team.
He's putting the team on his back. I mean, he does jump shots on his free throws. Like, that's just weird. Like, it's like he's so little. Like, this man would never make anybody's basketball team outside of the fourth grade. And he is here leading this team and we'll get into the basketball part of this movie because I feel like it is so ridiculous. Like, I was talking about this with Sarah yesterday where I was like, this movie this is the plot of the movie. It's, teenager, like, it sucks at basketball, sucks at fucking getting girls, gets werewolf powers. Nobody really seems to be kind of weirded out by it. They kind of just accept it. And then they go on to the fucking finals.
Yeah, so it's a yes, he gets fucking werewolf, powers, but as we learn, him hitting puberty in a weird way.
Yes,
They kind of
which is
explain that it
fine.
was 16, 17. I don't exactly know. He's got to be, I think, 17, 18. And then,
Yeah.
he finds out from his
Although he looks
dad
30.
once he, the full transformation happens, and his dad's like, son, we need to talk. Like, how the
His dad looks
fuck?
like an Ewok, man. Did you ever like? We'll talk about the fucking makeup, but his dad looks straight up coming in like an Ewok, man. That was
Yeah.
so bad. The makeup, the werewolf makeup in this movie is absolutely atrocious, and it gets worse in the close-ups. It doesn't get any better. Like it's absolutely terrible, terrible. Well,
Well,
yes, go ahead.
no,
Yes.
no, no. But to your point, the special effects and the bathroom scene. When finally, the whole werewolf, he's coming out as the werewolf. Not just little
Sure.
bitch, not the growl, not the
Yeah.
red eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
but again, I know it's 80s and I know prosthetics and the special effects are a lot different
Mm-hmm.
then. But those close-ups before the full hair, because when he, in the full werewolf, whatever, it looks like the typical werewolf movies of that time. But like the
Yeah.
special effects leading to that just looked weird. It looked like a mannequin Michael J. Fox, like the fakest shit I have ever seen.
Oh,
And I'm like,
horrendous.
why? Why not just do what they do like in Shaggy DA, just show the hair start coming like I'm a fucking
Mm-hmm.
werewolf. But yeah, so to your point, Michael J. Fox, throughout life, he just doesn't want to be average. He's just like, oh, I just don't want to be average. I want to be great at this and great at that, and he sucks at everything. But
Is
yeah,
that his
so
story arc?
yes, I remember him saying that.
Okay.
He was telling
Yeah.
his friend, his not his girlfriend, but the friend that was girl. I already forget her name.
Oh,
Like I
Boof.
just Boof, thank you.
Yeah. Oh,
But
trust me. Yeah, Boof. Yeah, that was a strange relationship. Yeah.
then all of a sudden,
Yes.
they're having the basketball game, which they haven't won a single one. Dog pile, everyone's just getting, and then all of a sudden he just growls. Everyone backs away, and he's a fucking werewolf. And to your point,
Yeah.
no one gives a shit. You know why? Because he can slam dunk the fucking ball. He's
Yeah.
a star, and everyone's
No.
like, oh, and then they go on to win the game. And then all of a sudden they went from having like no fans, one game, and then they have like
Mm-hmm.
a full squad cheerleaders. They have a fucking mascot. The stands are full. I'm like, They only won one game, and it's a
Yeah.
werewolf. No one cares.
Yeah.
The fact that his dad's been a werewolf for God knows how long because he had a
Yeah.
backstory about him, the vice principal. Like
Yep.
no
He
one
sure
else,
did.
there's no other werewolves that exist in this world.
Yeah.
There's no mom. They said yeah, mom's okay with it, but the mother's never shown in this whole movie. They talk
Is
about
she
the mom a few
dead?
times. No one, I don't know. Did the dad eat her? Fuck, we don't know.
Unclear.
But
Unclear.
because Michael J. Fox is like, does mom know? And yes, you cannot hide being a werewolf.
Oh my
And then
God,
his
that's right. We
excuse,
never see mom.
no, we don't. But and so the dad, when he's like,
Wow.
oh, I was hoping to skip the generation. Like, you think that's the fucking problem? Like, I don't want to tell my son, we're just gonna wait. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, just the lack of the mom now that's dawning on me is absolutely wild because it's not like really addressed in any sort of way. Although I just assumed she was dead.
They never said. It is a possibility. He just said, ask dad, does mom know? And he's like, oh yeah, she's okay with it. And that was it. So yeah, they never showed the mom in the movie. They never say if the mom's dead. This is, just the father and son, which is okay, but just no explanation. And we're going to get to a lot of other things that have no explanation in a
Yeah.
little bit. But yeah, so you're talking about going to basketball. They win the first game, and then all of a sudden,
Hmm.
obviously, he becomes popular. His best friend, is selling fucking T-shirts and doing this, and he gave the girls.
Styles. Yeah.
And then obviously we have the typical '80s bully. And then I have a question. All right,
Mm.
speaking the bowling scene. So Michael J. Fox is in full
Bowling
werewolf.
scene.
He
Oh,
takes
yes, yes,
with
yes,
the blonde
yes.
girl. The
Yep.
blonde's boyfriend is at the bowling alley as well. Like, don't
Yeah.
touch my girl. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not siding with the bully pretty much on anything in this movie up until this point. He was pushing around Michael J. Fox, being a prick. Do not get me wrong. I do
Yes.
not condone that.
Yes.
But as a man, your girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
is on a
Yeah.
date with
Yeah.
someone else. You're telling me you're
Hmm.
not supposed to get pissed off? Like, I that was just so fucking confusing. Like, wait, so he's not with the blonde, she's still with
Yeah.
him, but they're on a
Yep.
date, and then they're getting mad at the bully just because he's getting pissed off. I'm like, no, that's actually a natural reaction. I don't care what guy you are. If your girlfriend is on another date, either it's over or you're fucking
Yeah.
pissed off. And I'm like, I did not get that, but that's what they do. They just throw things in the story to make it move along. Um,
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, there's an insinuation that they had some sort of like sexual encounter in the back of the fucking like after drama theater class where the fuck that they're in. 'Cause like he goes and sees her room, and then like it cuts out to an establishing shot, and then he's like howling. So it's almost like he's like busting a nut.
yeah,
So
no,
I
they
was
had
like,
sex.
oh,
She
okay,
took
they're
she
together.
went topless. Yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't show anything, but she went topless. That's the other thing. He couldn't get this girl when he was just plain old average Michael J. Fox, but the werewolf
Sure.
can, and yet the
Michael
girl,
J. Fox.
the typical.
That's his
Excuse me,
character
Scott.
name.
Scott.
It's Michael J. Fox. It's a Michael J. Fox vehicle that this is like a lot of the other movies were reviewed. This is a vehicle for a very famous person, and everything else is just kind of decoration.
You mentioned earlier that no one has a problem with this, except there's one
Mm,
guy, Lewis. Kind of not one of the major friends, but Lewis, Teen Wolf, or Michael J. Fox's Wolf, looks to his best friend Styles and is like,
yes.
hey, what's up with Lewis? Does he have a problem? And Styles like, yeah. Michael J. Fox is learning. Like, maybe I shouldn't be like this, trying to go back. And then he's like, no, fuck it, fuck Lewis. We know he's got a problem. And that's it. They don't bring him up again.
Wow.
That story's not resolved. He realizes that there's a situation, and that's it. And then they go on
Yeah.
and surf on a fan.
They do, which I mean, wow, how dangerous. And also no police. Like the police just had no problems with like much less the werewolf stuff. Nobody's like, hey, these kids are doing this like all the time and there are no consequences. And also, like he kind of I remember Michael J. Fox driving the van with Styles on top of it. And I remember him doing a car move and I was just like, that would have killed Styles. There's
Or at
no
least
way
not.
he would have stayed on top of it. Like he would have been flying forward.
And then Styles is looking down the passenger window, like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" Like, just nonchalantly, just hanging off a fucking
Yeah.
van. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god!" And you're right. Well, because Michael J. Fox is scared to do it. Then, of course, when it becomes the wolf, he's like, I got this one. And he's doing backflips off it. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
do they understand how
handstands.
do they understand how physics work in a moving
Yeah,
vehicle? And then I have a
yeah.
question. When was this a thing?
Apparently in 1985, it definitely wasn't a thing for me. It never wanted to be something I wanted to do. Even when I saw this when I was younger, I was like, well, that's dangerous. And that was like, 8-year-old me or whatever used to watch this. I'd be like, well, you never catch me doing that. I mean, they're not even like standing in a good stance to do that. Like, if I had to do that, my life depended on it, and I had to literally stand on top of a van, I would not be standing up straight without any sort of like, making sure my center of gravity wasn't taken care of in any way. Like, it was just ridiculous and horrifying. And I guess, I don't know, they thought it was really cool. Maybe they were going to start a fad or a trend.
Oh yeah,
But
it's our
thankfully it
trend
never
to kill
came on.
scenes. Thank God. Thank
Well,
God.
that's what TikTok is these days, from what I understand. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of close to that, but yeah.
So before we get into the basketball stuff, because that's
Oh
going to be
God.
the chunk of what takes us to the end, obviously, I want to talk about the high school dance scene. Towards the end of the movie. Because the wolf
Oh
shows up
God.
alone because his friend Booth wants to go with Scott, not the wolf. But anyhow. So then, when the wolf starts dancing, I'm watching. I'm like, all they're doing is just like shaking their body, wolf pose,
Yes.
shaking their
Yep.
body, wolf pose. I'm
Yep.
like, wow, I can
Yeah.
do that. I like
And they
just
all were
all.
doing it.
And I'm just
Like,
like, what
I don't
the
remember
fuck
that being
happened?
established. I don't remember that being established where everybody learned a choreographed dance move. It was just terrible. It was just awful. And he's like wearing some sort of like John Travolta like get up outfit or something like that. Like
I was thinking Miami
fucking
Vice, but yeah, you're right. The Saturday Night Fever probably fits better. Uh,
yeah.
but all right, so I had a laugh because I'm like, wow, anyone can dance. You just do whatever, then do a wolf pose when everyone else does. But then the final fight
Yeah.
before the end basketball scene with the bully, when finally they confront,
Oh
Scott gets
God.
mad, as
Yeah.
the wolf gets mad, and then he starts scratching and crawling like this is the biggest temper tantrum. And then the bully's clothes is ripped. No blood, no
Yeah.
nothing. Like, all right, hold on a sec. The way that this shirt is ripped off this man, just like there should have been no, but no. He's like, I'm so mad, I'm just gonna rip off your fucking shirt, and then that's it. He
Yeah.
storms off. I'm like, wow, that.
But that was the line though. Like people were like, "Ooh, we got to call the police here."
Yes, he ripped
Um,
off another man's shirt.
yeah, like I mean, the werewolf part we were okay with, and everything else, all his other crimes that he was a part of, cool. But like ripping off a guy's shirt without any other violence or blood or anything like that was where they were like, "You're done here." And I think the
Yeah.
dad shows up right after, right, and like talks to the
With the
principal
yeah,
and makes
and
him piss his pants.
yeah, okay, all right. So to your point, yes, the dad had some history with the vice principal, and the dad. This is how we learned about the mom. The dad was dating the mom. I think the vice principal was interested. The two were just not fighting, but over the mom. And the dad was telling Scott the story about how he growled and he got angry at the vice principal and basically scared the shit out of the vice principal, made him piss his pants. And the dad was telling the story like, I don't know who was scared that night, more scared, him or me, because he let himself get that angry. And I'm like, he's trying to teach Scott, don't get angry, don't let these inside. And then at the end, what does the dad do?
Yeah.
No, does not learn a fucking lesson that he taught his son.
No,
It's like
no.
it just glows his eyes and makes the vice principal piss again. I'm like, that lesson is gone. Like this movie tries to teach you valuable lessons, but doesn't. It fails so
Fails
bad. And
spectacularly.
I'm just
Yeah, it does.
because the dad that was the whole point. The dad's like, listen, you just got to be controlled. Don't let, and he just does it anyways. Um, but all right, well, let's get into the basketball. So obviously, the Wolf starts winning, and the Wolf is taking every shot, basically taking
Oh
control of the
God,
team, like
yes.
beyond Michael Jordan.
Yes, the
Winning.
team gets really pissed at this.
Yes, and obviously because they want to play too, and then at the
Oh
end,
God.
after Michael J. Fox goes in the growing moment, where he's like, "All right, I will not play as the Wolf. I'm going to play as myself." And then all of a sudden, the team tries to accept him, and then they start playing well. Like I forget his name,
Yeah.
Chubbs. Francis from Pee Wee's. Chubbs is
Yes.
just someone calls him like Fatso, or I forget the exact words. And then all of a sudden he gets mad. Does it just throws up the ball? Not even. Not doing a perfect shot or lining up. It's just like nonchalantly he's throwing the ball and is making every basket. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I don't understand how their power of belief happened, but it did. And I didn't know that like the whole entire point of this movie was to win a basketball game. Like all of a sudden it was like end of Karate Kid, montage, like music on there and everything, like cheesy 80s montage of them coming back and winning a game and doing it together. And I was like, what? I was so confused.
The blonde girl tries to go for Scott, and he pushes her aside, and he, goes with the girl that's always been by his side, his female best friend, Boof, excuse me. What the fuck kind of name is Boof? I'm sorry. The character,
Yeah.
but I think like you, I loved it a lot as a kid. I don't know if it was because of Michael J. Fox. I don't know if it was because of Wolf. Maybe I was like, dude, I want to do some fan surfing. I don't know.
I want to
I don't know
dunk.
why I loved it as much because when we were going back, I'm like, oh my god. But rewatching it, it's not
Yeah.
bad. I'm not going to say it's one of the greatest. It's definitely not obviously one of his greatest.
No.
But it did its point. It just gave us a typical '80s movie feel. So
Yeah, I would say, to your point, that Michael J. Fox is clearly the best part about this movie. Like he is still Michael J. Fox doing Michael J. Fox things, and that carried a lot of it, which had me go with the whole thing. Of course, this is just a Michael J. Fox vehicle, and nothing else really happens. But yeah, after I was done watching it, yes, the movie itself terrible structure and just kind of makes no sense, but I did also kind of enjoy it just simply because Michael J. Fox is in this. That's really the only saving grace. There were so many questions and so many confusing things that were going on in this movie, and everybody looked way older than teenagers.
yeah,
So I was like, that part was unbelievable, and the weird ass like basketball coach who didn't seem to really be doing much of anything,
didn't care
except
about his
eating all
kids.
the time. Like I've never seen a man eat that much KFC than he did, like in his office. He's like, yeah, and I think he said something stupid like, like never. His rules for like getting through life was like, never get less than like, I don't know, 12 or 15 hours of sleep, something ridiculous like that, and like never like get with a woman with a snake
Sit
tattoo or a dagger tattoo. Is
and
that what it was? I
and
don't
never
know.
play poker with a guy who has a name of a city or something like that.
Yeah.
Worst coach, worst teacher ever because how the fuck is he a coach? How the fuck is he a teacher?
No idea. He's just simply there, and that's it. Just like a lot of the parts of this movie, just simply rotating around Michael J. Fox. That's what this is. But I will say my favorite scene in this movie continues to be where he just fucking asks for a keg of beer. Like I still laughed out loud during that scene. I don't know why. I found it hilarious.
Yep, and the red eyes glowing, like, give me a beer. And he does, and the friend's like, what'd you do? I asked him for a keg of beer. Just nonchalantly, like he doesn't
That
know.
old man saw a demon and he was like, "I'm not ready to go yet."
Fuck the law.
Here's your
You know
keg of
what? You
beer.
deserve.
Fuck the law. Your eyes got red. You spoke in a demon voice. The keg is yours. And if that's all that will appease you, here you go.
That is our review of Teen Wolf. Let us know, what did you think of the movie? Did you enjoy it? Was it one of your favorites? What else was crappy about it? So,
What else is
anyhow,
crappy?
just remember the moral of the story. Be who you are on the inside. Unless you're an asshole, then go back to being average. Till next time.
Yeah. Oh, Teen Wolf.
Have a good one.